Hello everyone, Jamarcus here, and I'm here with week 7 of the Mafia division of the Spear Pillar Draft Association. We're faced off against Kung Fu Panda, who I've never played before, but has a pretty potent team, and I understand that he's a pretty strong battler. I think he got second in a division last season. I'm not too sure though. Strong team, quite a Sun team, pretty obviously, but I don't think Vulpix is going to want to show up to every game. So I think it's about a 50-50 if it actually shows up against me. I do have Prankster Rain Dance, which could uh, help make him want to not bring it. And after my last week of sweeping with Illumais, he might be scared of it. Probably not. Um, he has a Quagsire, which is like the best Iron Thorns check of all time. And I feel like I've said that many times this season, but I mean it this time. Drifblim honestly has a bit of a tough time. Um, Brute Bonnet can take a hit. Tinkatuff's pretty good into it too. Raichu as well. So I think I have a bit of a tough matchup. With that being said, I think Swan is incredible here. Raichu's really the only flying resist on my opponent's team. I don't think Tinkatuff is really showing up. And if it does, it doesn't want to be taking a liquidation with Terra Water or something. So I think Swan is fantastic. I need to run pretty much max speed, but I think that's fine. But I actually made a pretty bold decision in the team that I made. I said Leafeon either wasn't showing up or wasn't running max speed. So I just ran enough speed on Swanna for the Chandelure, which let me run Adamant. I'm bringing Physical here. I just think it's a lot better. Clicking Brave Bird is really free, and I don't want to be clicking Hurricane and missing. Although I don't think Swanna's missed a Hurricane or a Hydro Pump all season, which is pretty stellar. As for Terra types, I actually ended up going Ground just for Raichu to try and uh, dissuade that thing from clicking Full Switch. Terra Water is not really necessary. I think Water Absorb Cloud is showing up. I don't think Unaware is necessary for it to beat Iron Thorns, although Unaware could be pretty nice for the Drifblim, or like a sit-up Orthworm. So, what do I expect to show up? Top 5, probably. Maybe Raichu, probably Raichu, but maybe Tinkatuff or Vulpix. What did I bring? Spoilers, Snubbul showed up. Swanna, Scarf, Adamant, enough speed for the base 80s, and then just stabs with knockoff, and then flip turn to pivot around. Clicking flip turn's kind of tough because I think Claude has a pretty decent chance of bringing Water Absorb here. Snubbull next up. I wanted to bring it. It was either this week or next week. So it's showing up here. Pretty much max attack Adamant. Just enough speed for Quagsire with sub bulk up and then play rough Earthquake. Play rough Earthquake hits everything pretty hard. This thing obviously loses to Quagsire because it's unaware, but with a sub up and bulk ups, it can't really break my sub that well. So maybe I can stall it out a little bit. I don't know. Um, Intimidate's cool. It can be like an emergency switch into um, Brute Bonnet or Scyther or even Leafeon, even though this thing does not do any damage to Leafeon. That's Snubbull. Skuntank, knockoff T-Spikes, Toxic Protect with Black Sludge. Uh, Pretty much max speed for the Chandelure. I'm pretty scared of that thing. And then the rest in special defense and bulk for that Chandelure. Toxic Protect, pretty strong into most of his team. T-Spikes, I don't think Alolan Grimer is showing up, so seems pretty strong. Knockoff as well. Kind of walled by Tinkatuff, but I think that's fine. Iron Thorns, not a setup set, but rather hazards. And just Earthquake, Dragon Tail. Kind of hits the whole team, shuffle them around, get some chip on them, which will put them in range of a Scarf Swanna endgame. And then I want to try and win with Snubbull, but if that doesn't work, I do have backup in Drifblim, just a boring weakness policy, Calm Mind, 3 attack set. In hindsight, maybe Strength Sap would have been better, but because of my last Pokemon, I figured full offense might be the way to go. Enough speed, I'm very fast, so that I outspeed Scarf Raichu after Unburden. That might be overkill. I didn't care about speed tying Chandelure. And I have stored power in case unaware Quagsire, because that would wall me otherwise, and just toxic me down. Last up, Raichu, boring set, max speed to speed tie there, Raichu, with screens, light clay, knockoff, and volt switch. That's the team. Um, hoping to do something with Snubbul, but it doesn't work. I do have Scarf Swanna and Drifblim to sweep later, and then probably just leading Skuntank. Looking at the matchup, pretty much everything we expected. We do see the Raichu. Makes sense. They probably want a flying resist in this matchup. Really wishing I was Terra Flying. If I had that as an option, or if I had that as an option, I would have brought it. Because Terra Flying Brave Bird looks really good here. Would have like 2 a KO Quagsire. So I lead Skuntank. I thought about leading Iron Thorns, but it would just be pretty bad into a Quagsire lead. I have enough special defense. I guess I can talk about the EVs. Enough special defense to live a Specs Energy Ball from Chandelure. Um, that's kind of everything, to be honest. The speed, yeah. So, Skuntank lead on a Scyther. Pretty good. I've got max HP. This thing's not going to do that much damage to me. So I can get a very free Toxic here. The U-turn, it does a lot of damage. I thought it was Choice Band. It's just Scyther does that much damage. Skuntank is not as bulky as I thought it was, I guess. Altaria comes in. This thing has Natural Cure, so um, it's not going to be too scared of this Toxic. But it gives me an opportunity to knock off some boots to set up T-Spikes. Of course, it can defog, but if it wants to defog, that means it's not switching out. That means it's not clicking Roost. Toxic might be wearing it down at that point. Or I could have brought Taunt, but I valued Toxic and Toxic Spikes. So I click Knockoff, figured they can't do too much to me. They Wisp, I don't really mind that. It means I'm not getting my recovery on Black Sludge, but that's fine. I get up my T-Spikes, and I think I Protect here to try and prevent them from clicking Defog. They go Scyther, and yeah, I Protect. I'm going to Toxic this thing again. It cannot kill me. Dual Wing is a roll, actually, but a roll very much in my favor. Although that first, I think it can get up to 34, so if they got two 34s, I think they could have killed me. I Toxic them. I have a very obvious Protect here, but I don't think them clicking Swords Dance is that bad for me. Yeah, they click Swords Dance, but I can just Protect again the next turn. And this thing will eventually die to Toxic. I actually go Iron Thorns here, because I figured they're not going to click Close Combat. There's no reason to drop your defenses. They'll probably just Dual Wing Beat or U-turn. So I don't take any damage. Then I can go back to Skuntank, which gives me an extra turn of Toxic and the Aftermath, which will put them in range of knockoff from Raichu. I didn't want to reveal Scarf Swanna quite yet, so I Revenge Kill with Raichu instead. Had I not made that play, then I would have been forced to click Volt Switch here, and then they get a pretty free Quagsire, although they probably don't want to risk me having Grass Knot. But I figured clicking Knockoff is just a really safe play for me. That always killed even if they're not -1, so that accounted for, I guess they could have been Eviolite because I never knocked them off. So even if they were Eviolite, I should be killing them. They have to be pretty much max speed for Swanna anyways. Raichu comes in, they knock off. Good thing I'm max HP, that would have killed me otherwise. I get up a light screen. Then I just knock off, which tells me they're not scarfed. It's just a speed tie. It's nice that I won that. Knock off their Assault Vest, which doesn't really matter here. I guess that means now like Shadow Ball might kill, um, but it just tells me that they're not scarfed, which is nice. I bring in Iron Thorns. The only thing this can really do to me is Surf or Focus Blast. I have a light screen up, so I think I'll be fine. I want my rocks up. They knock off my Citrus Berry. A little unfortunate, but not the end of the world. At this point, they're just sacking their Raichu, which is fantastic for me. I Dragon Tail. This thing puts it in range of rocks. Hoping to not see Altaria come in, because I couldn't really prevent a defog. We see Altaria come in. Unfortunate, but I'm just going to Dragon Tail, because if they click defog, Then they're staying at half, which is pretty good for Drifblim and Swanna late game. They just opt to roost, and I Dragon Tail them right back out. So now they're actually lower than they were before, after rocks. Chandelure comes in, light screen ends, this thing will be able to kill me if they are choice specs. I think it's a roll for Energy Ball to kill me if they're just, like, let's say Spell Tag or something. They're obviously not boots, which is fantastic. None of these are getting the boost off of Altaria was very nice, and Chandelure not being boots also very good. Hoping to not see boots on Quagsire or Brute Bonnet, because getting that Toxic Spike damage on them will be very helpful. They Shadow Ball, it kills me, that reveals that they are choice specs. Swanna's really my only play. Snubbul and Drifblim will both die to this, so I have to reveal. Actually, I would be faster than them anyways, so they don't know I'm Scarf here, and I know they are not Scarf. Free knockoff for me. I didn't want to risk them going Quagsire on a Water Absorb move, and I didn't really want to click Brave Bird either to take unnecessary recoil, because it didn't do a KO Quagsire anyways. So I just knock off. They bring in Brute Bonnet. I'm guessing they assumed they lived a Brave Bird. Uh, or like maybe I could be scared of Banded Sucker Punch. So I just go Snubbul. It's really the only use it's going to have in this game, encountering this Brute Bonnet. Even if I get Sword, that's fine. I get the Intimidate. And yeah, after they Intimidate, I know Drifblim's going to be taking hits from this thing just fine. I see they're leftovers, so they're not a boosting item. So in comes Drifblim. And I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, okay, the only thing activating my weakness policy is Brute Bonnet, because I'm not living a Shadow Ball. And I don't think Quagsire is going to like, Ice Beam on me. So I just want to start clicking Calm Mind. Maybe I can end up living a Shadow Ball. I need 2 Calm Minds to do that. If Altaria starts attacking me, that's fine. If they have Haze, that's fine. Um, I just figure, let's try setting up. So they roost, that's fine. They go into Quagsire, which tells me they're probably unaware. I don't think you would make this play if you were not. I get another Calm Mind. I know I live a hit from Chandelure now, but I cannot take Chip. Stored Power isn't doing very much yet. Air Slash and Shadow Ball still do more. So I decide I'll just go for Air Slash. With poison damage, Air Slash will probably 2 a KO, or Air Slash into Shadow Ball, and of course I can get the flinch, which would be pretty nice. All I really need is damage on this. At this point, everything is in range of Scarf Brave Bird. I don't die to Sucker Punch. After Rocks, Altaria is dying. A little bit of damage on Quagsire. Actually, a lot of damage on Quagsire. But um, getting some damage on this with Drifblim is fantastic. Brave Bird looked like it should be able to clean up this game. So I Air Slash here. And I get a crit and a flinch. It's pretty lucky. I don't think that was game winning. I think the game was pretty secured already. But a crit Sucker Punch. Maybe I didn't get enough damage on Quagsire, even though they're going to Toxic me. I'll be able to keep this thing pretty low. Um, or I can just start Calm Minding and then Stored Power will boost through them. I have some options. I can also go Snubbul, which would be faster, and I can get a sub on it. So the crit flinch I'll take, which means I can just Shadow Ball for free the next turn. They go Chandelure. I live this unless they get a crit or they're modest. But I don't think they can afford to be modest here because they want to be faster than Iron Thorns and Hitmonchan and trying to speed tie the Drifblim. So yeah, they Shadow Ball, I live, and I get my weakness policy, which doesn't really matter unless this Brute Bonnet has Sucker. I wish I had Strength Sap here. I'd click it for sure. They can't Spore me, and Strength Sap would just clean up the game. Unfortunately, I don't have it, and they do have Sucker Punch, so they kill me. I thought about clicking Calm Mind there, but I can just go Snubbul here. Anyways, I still have Swanna in the back to always live, so I figured let's try and get Snubbul to wake up and do something. If I lose some differential, who cares? So they Spore. I don't know why. They Synthesis. I wake up and get my sub up. I'm going to start clicking Bulk Up in this thing's face. It's intimidated. I bulk up and I kill them with Play Rough here. I probably could have kept clicking Bulk Up. I don't know how much Brave Bird was even doing at this point. Let me calc 1 second. So I was just looking at the set my opponent brought. It had a little bit of attack. That was always breaking my sub. If I got one more bulk up, it would never break my sub, but they're faster than me, so I would never end this situation with a substitute anyways. So I think just killing this Saltaria was the correct play. Having a sub up for at least 4 would be nice, but that's fine. We can just win the game with Swanna later. They put me to sleep. I'm just going to stay in, try and get an early wake up. They seed bomb. I'm going to live the next one unless they crit. They don't. I wake up. I hit my play rough. And Snubbul gets 2 kills. Not as good as Illumise last week, but pretty good. Turns out Fairy's a good typing. And I think Swanna late game was winning from 10 turns ago. Probably, I mean, the crit definitely helped, but around this point I was pretty confident in the game. I think Skuntank did a fantastic job off lead. Thorns got the rocks up, shuffled some things around. Raichu didn't do much, but that's fine. So that's the game. We win. That's 7-0. I think we're at 20 plus 20 differential now. I think we're making playoffs. I kind of want to try and go 8-0 now because I've never gone a perfect season. And I brought every Pokemon, so I don't really have a reason to try and make something work anymore. So, although, to be fair, Hitmonchan has not been good at all. I brought it once and it didn't do too much. Pincurchin's also been terrible. I drafted this thing and everyone was telling them, oh, Pincurchin sucks. And I was telling them, oh, look at its stats. It has Deoxys speed stats and move pool, except it's slow. You can still spike, you can still recover, Thunder Wave. No, this thing's bad. Turns out speed's kind of important. And terrain doesn't enable Thorns and Raichu as much as I thought it would. And Drifblim, half the time, there are better items to use for Unburden than Electric Seed. I think Citrus Berry and Weakness Policy, or even a Resist Berry, are just as consistent as Electric Seed. So I don't know why I'm doing some retrospective as if this is the last game of the season. It's not. We have next week, and I kind of want to win to go 8-0. I was saying like, oh, I might bring Specs Hitmonchan or something, but no. Actually, if I want to try and bring heat, I want it to work. I don't want to look like a fool. Although maybe I will bring Specs Hitmonchan. I don't know who I'm playing next week. Let's see. Oh, we're playing Paycheck. He's got a good team. Nah, I'm beating him. So, that's week 7. I've yapped on enough. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.